Hi, welcome to TBee's Life. So glad you're here. Oh, welcome to Tea Time with TBee. So it has been a minute since I've sat down to have some tea, but I am so glad that I'm able to have a chat today. So I want to talk about some seafoods that we are eating. I found this interesting um, information about seafoods to avoid. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit over some tea. So basically, off of a seafood watch, they had the good choices, the alternatives, and the things you should absolutely avoid. So I'm just going to talk about 10 top seafoods that we should avoid. So number one, they said swai. Swai is a seafood that you should avoid. Number two, cod. Cod from the Atlantic Ocean of Canada and US. And they said from the Pacific Ocean from Japan and Russia. Okay, and I found that like very, very interesting. Um, even for number three, they say crab. Now, I love roasting crabs. Okay, so but you have to be careful on the crabs that you get. Okay, so they're saying that if you get crabs from like Argentina or Asia or even Russia, that you should not eat them. But it's like, but how would you know if you're getting crabs from these areas? I know especially like if you go to a place that already has the crabs and stuff like, and it's like even with the cod and the swai, it's like how would you know? So I thought that was very interesting. And then they said for number four is halibut. Now, I'm not quite sure about halibut, so I'm not sure if that's like a real thing. Like, I'm thinking that maybe that's something that you would get if you go to like a restaurant or something. But yeah, they said halibut, you should avoid it. And especially if it's from like the Atlantic and the wild, like it's wild caught from the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so let me sip a little bit. And for number five, lobster. Spiny lobster. Okay, now who can appreciate a good lobster every now and then, okay? But they saying that if you get a spiny lobster from Brazil, from Belize, from Honduras, and even Nicaragua, that it is not good, that you should avoid it. And again, it's like, how would you know these things? Like, do you ever go get your lobster and say, let me check and see where y'all got this lobster from? Like, is that really like a thing? So, but it makes you think about it. Like when you go to these seafood places, I know for myself, I am a huge seafood lover. So it makes me want to be like, okay, where did y'all get that from? So it's like, whew, now you want to go and catch your own stuff. Kind of sound like to me. But let's move on to number six. The number six, they say mahi mahi. Now, I know mahi mahi usually has a different taste. Like every now and then, if I'm going somewhere, I might get like some mahi mahi. Okay, and I know that it's big like on like a sandwich type. It goes good with like bread and stuff like that. But they said that if you get it imported, avoid it. Okay, so again, you go out to a restaurant, it's on the menu. Do you ask them where they get their mahi mahi from? You know, but it's like, then avoid it altogether. It's like one of those things that make you go. So, number seven. Let me sip on that. Pollock. Pollock. Now, I can appreciate a good piece of pollock. Okay, but they say avoid it if it's coming from the Canada trawls. So when I think of Canada trawls, I'm thinking, ooh, maybe that's the like real murky waters and stuff like that, not so good, mixed with a lot of stuff or whatever. And it said don't get it from Russia. Okay, but again, are you going to be really checking to say, hey, where is this product coming from? I think it's easier like if you're getting it from like a fresh like fish market or something like that. But even if you get your stuff frozen, I know I have tend to like get in like my seafood frozen because that way I'll have it for when I'm ready for it. And now it's making me like, okay, every time I get seafood, like if it's frozen already, check the bag, see where it's coming from. Okay. And they say for number 8, you should avoid salmon. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, that one cut me deep. That one cut me deep because I absolutely love, 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 love salmon. That falls right up in the category for me as like the cod. I'm like, I love some cod, but it's saying like if you get it from the Atlantic or Canada or whatever, avoid it. Okay, I don't have to jump through hoops for cod, but salmon, give me a good piece of salmon. Okay, listen, man, that hit a little different. Okay, especially when it's cooked right. But yeah, they saying if you get salmon from the Canada Atlantic, like from the Atlantic Ocean side of Canada, or from Chile, or from Norway or Scotland, avoid it. Avoid it. So again, how would you know these things? Like, it's not a lot of restaurants that you can go to now that don't have it on the menu. Very few. I'm not talking about like the little burger joints and stuff like that. I'm talking about if you go to like a nice restaurant, somewhere you can sit down and eat, and even if you're going to take it out sometime, they usually have salmon on the menu. That's always like one of my go-to. So that one hit a little different because now it's like, oh god, now I gotta worry about is my salmon good when I get a piece of salmon. So for number 9, shrimp. Now that falls on the same scale as the salmon for me because I love shrimp, I love salmon. Um, Sometimes shrimp could go a little bit down and the salmon could go a little bit up, but sometimes I might want them hand in hand. Okay, so shrimp is good unless you get it imported from sources outside of the US and Canada. So me seeing that and reading that was gave me a little bit of relief because okay, it's not like from everywhere. They're not saying get it from the Atlantic Ocean, don't get it from Pacific, and all that other stuff. It's saying if it's imported outside of the US or Canada. So okay, so that makes me feel a little better that okay, my shrimp okay could possibly be good for me. And for the last thing, number 10, bluefin tuna. Okay. I've personally never heard of bluefin tuna, but apparently it's a thing. I know they have different kinds. They have albacore, they have like the yellowfin, like they have different brands of tuna. But the bluefin tuna, they just said avoid it at all. It doesn't matter where it comes from. If it's bluefin tuna, don't eat it. Okay. So I'm not sure about you guys. Like, have you ever heard of any of these things, or do you question where your seafood comes from? But these are things on the seafood level that you would want to avoid. I know some things are kind of hard to avoid, but with so much things happening and we're getting sick and our health be changing and stuff like that. Like you don't know what you're putting into your body. So I thought it was pretty interesting. And I really appreciate like Seafood Watch like putting it on your radar, like what's good and what's not good. So I'll probably do another tea time where I will share the good choices. But I wanted to just put this on your radar of things that you should avoid as far as seafood. And they gave you a reason why you should avoid these things, because they said that these types of seafood that I just explained, they like strong management, like, or either they're like caught or farmed in ways that can harm you, or they're like harmful to the environment. So that tells you right there that sometimes like they can be in like really like unsavory conditions. You know what I mean? Like really dirty or contaminated waters and stuff. So yeah, so I try to take heed. I try to take heed. So now this is making me like be more watchful and mindful when I'm ordering stuff. To kind of like ask a little bit more questions. After all, you only get one body. There's only one you. So you have to take care of you and protect your temple. You know. So, but that was what I had for my tea time today. And I'm gonna sip. I hope that you found this information helpful, and I look forward to sharing some more about what's good for you and what's not over tea for the next time. But until then, have a great one.